been found in Alaska, and now it must be brought to market. Neither a barge nor a tanker can stand the weight of the ice during the 6 winter months in Alaska's Cook Inlet. Only structures of the toughest steel can withstand such a beating. So the oil wells stand idle, representing a multi-million-dollar investment on ice. And the only way to earn a return on this investment is to build a pipeline when there isn't any ice. But in warmer months, there is a host of other problems, such as high winds and waves. And swift currents which move with each tide. Only at slack tide can work be performed, at high or low. Every 6 hours, the water depth changes by 30 feet. Ordinary pipe won't do for Cook Inlet. The wall of this pipe is twice as thick as normal. It is coated with an inch of concrete to make it heavy enough to withstand inlet currents. A spiral rib of concrete is added as a spoiler after research shows this is the best way to prevent high-frequency vibrations caused by the currents. There are 14 miles of this 8-inch pipe, enough for 2 lines from the shore of the inlet to the platform. If one should break down, the other still could carry crude oil until repairs can be made in the spring. The pipe is coated at Auburn, Washington, then loaded on a barge for the long journey to Alaska. How do you get the pipe safely to the bottom of Cook Inlet? The answer is here. A giant stinger which guides the pipe on rollers to the inlet floor. It is built at Anchorage, the biggest piece of construction equipment ever fabricated in Alaska. It's 400 feet long and 140 tons of steel, providing a sturdy design dictated by the powerful inlet currents. The pipe will go down either side of the stinger, and one end of the device will be connected to a barge. The other will ride on the bottom. The battle with Cook Inlet will involve men as well as machinery, and they must be provided for. Here is a tube which divers will use to descend to the bottom of the inlet to make the final connection. Living quarters must be provided for the crew, and enough food is accumulated to last a month or more. At the platform, preliminary work moves ahead. A group of workers weld a prefabricated steel wrap around one of the legs. It serves two purposes. First, it will take wear and tear caused by the ice, protecting a structural member. Second, it will provide grooves to shelter the pipelines from the ice. What happens to the oil when it arrives on shore? It will pass through production facilities. Then the oil will move 5 miles south through another pipeline which must be installed. This line terminates at a dock which is open the year round. Here, the oil can be loaded on a tanker. On the shores of Cook Inlet, pipeliners prepare for the main battle of the operation. Ammonium nitrate is a common fertilizer, but not now. For this operation, it serves as an explosive charge. The explosive charge is pulled into the water. The blast creates a ditch at the shore to protect the pipelines from ice. All attention now turns to the derrick barge, where the pipelines will be welded segment by segment. First, though, the barge must be equipped with a stinger, and it can be attached only at slack tide. The derrick lifts the device and swings its hinged end around to the barge. A cable is threaded through the rollers, a winch on the bluff supplies the power to pull the first pipe to shore and up the bank. Now the welding of the pipe begins in earnest. Pulled pipe the foreman shouts, and the barge is moved out from under the pipe. This produces a sound that will long remain in the memories of the men. The pipeliners find a potential enemy in the wind. Currents are bad enough in themselves to halt work. But when the wind starts blowing across the inlet, the pipeliners have new worries. And tugs must be called on to hold the barge in place. By evening, a storm threatens the operation, and a helicopter heads for cover on shore. Crews are changed every 12 hours on the barge, when possible. In this case, the water is too rough, and it's no go. It isn't safe. This crew will have to stay on duty. As the force of the storm and currents batter the barge, the work goes on as long as possible. Welding, X-raying each joint, sealing each joint with a plastic sleeve. Each step must be performed. At the peak of the storm, work stops. The pipe and stinger are bent to a 50-degree angle. Everything threatens to break loose and wash away with the currents. An anchor cable gets fouled under the barge and must be cut. All available tugs arrive on the scene. The storm subsides, the pipe is straightened out, and the orders go out to reset the anchors. Catastrophe has been avoided, and now it's time to get back to laying pipe. High up on a bank, a surveyor gets the message. He checks the barge location and guides it back to the pipeline route. A new danger takes shape. The first signs of an Alaskan winter. The pipeliners winterize their working stations. Arctic winds already have frozen nearby lakes. Ice is beginning to form at the head of Cook Inlet. The pipeline must reach the platform before the ice, or there will be another year's delay. A break in the weather has given the pipeliners a chance to step up the pace, and they get nearer to their goal. On the platform, workmen prepare for the final connection. A pile driver hammers the diver tube into place. The riser segments of the pipelines are placed into the groove of the leg wrap. The barge arrives at the platform before the ice. And the last segment of pipe stands on the rack. The pipe is christened. And it disappears into Cook Inlet. The most agonizing part of the job is over. Completion still is 4 weeks away, however. The divers use the diver tube to go to the bottom and connect the pipelines. The tube permits the divers to spend 45 to 50 minutes on bottom at slack tide. But many slack tides are required. The water is turbid, and it is like working with a blindfold. By the time winter has arrived in Alaska, the connection is complete. The race is won. The pumps start moving oil from the platform to shore. The oil is stored and treated here, then pumped through the onshore pipeline to the all-weather dock. At the dock, it is loaded on a tanker for movement to a refinery. Development of the Middle Ground Shoal field moves ahead. The field was discovered in 1963. Now, 2 years later, the environment has been conquered. The long, slow return on a multi-million-dollar investment begins.